Okay guys, so I'm just gonna have a little bit of a, I guess what I'm gonna call a tackle talk. So I'm just gonna tell you about the different types of lures I have and kind of when and where I use them. So I've got everything kind of laid out, well, most of my stuff anyway. I have a lot more stuff coming in the mail soon, so that will be good. So on this side, we kind of have what I'm gonna be using this spring. So these are basically soft plastics, swim baits, paddle tails, all that sort of stuff. We've got some weighted stuff, some really lightly weighted stuff with some weedless adaptions. We've got some completely weightless stuff. So we've got all sorts of stuff. So basically, this is what I'm going to be using this spring. So the season opens on April 15th, and I'm super excited. So I have to get everything ready. There's still some stuff coming, but basically what we're going to be using in the spring is subsurface lures. And these weighted soft plastics are all basically subsurface. So this is basically all it consists of, is a jig head and a soft plastic, like a rubbery kind of a body that is replaceable. It comes off the jig head. So these are the jig heads here. I'll use that one for an example. So that's basically what that is. And you just pick the different types of bodies you want, different colors, different sizes, and you feed these on. It's pretty easy. I'll show you kind of how to do that. So how I do it is I kind of just line it up like this. I'll use a smaller one. Use this smaller one. So I kind of just line it up like that. You know what? I'm going to use this one because it's yellow. So I kind of just line it up like that and see where the hook should come out of. So I kind of know it's right around there. So basically I'm just going to put the hook in here and I'm going to feed it on. A little bit of pressure, get it on to a certain extent, and then I'm going to come out the top of the body like that. Just like that. And I want the tail aimed downward. So there's where my line ties on this eyelet up here. So I'm going to feed it on like that, and then I'm just going to push it up like that. Boom. Look at that. Done. So this is basically what we're going to be using for the spring. There's different size ones. We got stuff that's really heavy like this. So this is for deeper water or stuff with there's a lot of current. So that's kind of something I would use in a really big channel or somewhere where there's a crazy amount of current, or if maybe possibly in the surf if I have a really strong rod and just want to get some really good casting distance. But yeah, so I'll be using a lot of these Savage Gear sand eels. They're a great lure. They're super successful. So I'll be using a lot of those, different colors. I've got reds and chartreuse and pinks, and I've got some other ones coming. So those are basically what I'm gonna be using. We've got also this storm anchovy. That's a pretty good one. They seem to love this. I use this one. You can see the bass teeth are destroying that one pretty good. So anyways, so this one here is a weightless. So it's a bit different. So this will probably sit mostly on pretty close to the surface, and I guess it's kind of imitating like an eel or something. So super cool. I'm excited to use this. I think actually this was given to me by Rick Dempsey. So shout out to Rick. Thanks for that. I haven't actually used it yet. He gave me that big one, and I got a smaller one here somewhere. Right there. It's got a little bit of red in it. So yeah, we'll be using these for this spring. And then there are also some of them are weedless. So see that hook, how it sits in with the lure like that? Pretty cool. So this is from Chase Baits. This is very lightly weighted. It's still got a bit of weight to it, but this will be good for when the fish are a little pickier. I like to go with a smaller profile lure. So stuff like maybe that, or even that. These bigger ones here, 6 inchers, I like those in the fall. They really like those because the fish are super aggressive. And I've also got all different types of jig heads here. Some of them came out of lures, some of them I bought. This is a jointed one, so that's kind of cool. Just has a little bit more freedom of movement, so a bit different. I got that in Australia, I think. So those are my, I'm going to try to keep this a little bit shorter because I did this yesterday and I rambled on for 40 minutes. I don't want to make a 40-minute tackle talk video, so we're going to keep moving pretty quick. So those are my jig heads and my soft plastics and my swim baits. These over here are all my top waters basically, and some stick baits and stuff. So the top water will be for more in the summer and possibly a bit in the fall. So basically what I'm gonna be using, what I used the most last year, was this cotton cordell pencil popper. They work awesome. They you kind of walk the dog with them, and they do have a little cup face. That's what these cup faces are for. They push water and they cause the lure to different types of actions. So you have different cup sizes. Like this is another popper. This is a pencil popper and this is an actual popper. So this one has a big cup face. So this is fished a little bit differently. This is more of a big pull, wind in the slack. Big pull, wind in the slack. Big pull, wind in the slack. This one, I do both at once. I twitch it and wind it at the same time. This does not cause as much of a disturbance. This causes a crazy disturbance in the water. So this is cool for like surf fishing and all sorts of other stuff, but I use this more in the bays because it's a little bit less conspicuous and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, also I'll go over this. This is an assist hook. And the reason I've chosen to go with that is it's on a split ring, but it doesn't bind. See, this is on a split ring, and this, if I turn this over, this will bind up like that. It will just bind against itself like that. I could bend that and break that right now if I wanted. And the reason why that sucks is if a fish jumps or it's spinning, it just like all sorts of different reasons. And you might think, well, the lure is free, so that shouldn't do anything. But if I have my line tied here and I'm pulling this way and this binds, the fish twists the other way, it could possibly pop the hook out. So the way to get away from that is using an assist hook. And this you can just spin, like it's not gonna bind up. It's just simply not going to. Ow. Hooked myself. So you can buy these online. This is not the proper stuff. I just bought these last year, just to test them out, and I bought the wrong ones, but they work good anyway, so I don't know if I'll keep using them. But I bought these. These are trolling hooks, so these are not good. They're not for top water, so I'm going to replace those this year. I'm probably going to go with BKK for some top water assist hooks. But yeah, so, and these are VMC inline single hooks. So that's kind of what you want for the top water as well. You see how the eyelet is kind of facing the other way? Don't want that. So, but anyways, these work good. And I used to use 2 assist hooks. I had one on here as well, but I stopped doing that because I kept catching 2 fish at once. And as fun as that is and kind of cool, it like sometimes can get annoying. And they actually stole one of my poppers. One of my poppers that I was going to hang on the wall, so that kind of sucks. So yeah, that's the reason why we use the assist hooks. It also gives you a little bit of length too, so. And you can get some crystal flash on there, blah, blah, blah. So that's the pencil popper. These are Ansari poppers. The only thing that sucks about these is the water will get in the seams after a while. You can put some sealant on it and it will last longer, but they're still pretty good and they're cheap. So the next thing I'm going to show you is this top water. This is what I got from Slab Zone. So I got this from Slab Zone Lures, which is pretty cool. I've put the assist hook on it. This is 9.5 inches long. I think it's called like snow belly or something like that. So really like this. It's lost the eyes, but the first day I caught like 30 fish on this, and look, there's 0 damage to this lure. Absolutely nothing. It's tough as nails, and it's big, and it's pretty heavy, so you can cast that really, really far. I really like this. This is a kind of a walk the dog action. He told me I didn't have to fish it fast. I'm a little impatient, so I reel stuff in really fast, but he told me to kind of slow it down a little bit, so I'm going to try that this year a little bit more. So really excited to use that, thanks to Slab Zone Lures. He also gave me these swim baits, which I kind of forgot to tell you about. So these will be good in the spring. I like white. I like the red and white combo. So he sent me all these and that for free. So it's really shout out to him. That's awesome. I already caught some fish on this one. I think it is. Yeah, the barbs are crushed. So I'm going to use this spring. So really like those. They're shaped different and they're made of a different material. It seems really, really tough. Anyone who fishes the Savage Gear sand eels knows that the bass can just destroy these really quick sometimes. So sometimes they last a while, sometimes they don't. So really like the material he makes his stuff out of. So those are my top waters. Now I'm gonna go over these. These are stick baits, and it's super rigid, but these they'll sink. They're a little bit weighted, so they will sink if you leave them, but they don't sink very fast. So it's a bit different than these with the jig heads. Those will sink really, really fast. These will not, but it kind of has just a swimming action, and these are really cool. You could, if you reel quick enough, you can kind of keep these in the top of the water column, which is kind of the reason why they're cool, or you can fish it real slow and it sinks a bit deeper. So you can kind of choose a little bit more where you want to fish. These here, you need to reel extremely fast to keep this close to the water, top of the water column. So those are my stick baits. I've got all kinds of those. These are also stick baits. This is an X-Wrap long cast, so Rapala makes these. And then I've got some Halco ones. These are very similar. I've got a bunch of these stick baits. I've never used these three, so be excited to use those this year. And then we've got some lipped lures. So these dive. That's what this lip here does. So depending on the size of the lip and the shape, it will kind of bring it down to different depths. So this one's rated for 3 meters. So that's 3 times 3.3. So that's like, yeah, 10 feet. Almost 10 feet. So you can get a bunch of different kinds of those. It's kind of like a big crankbait, really, is what it is. So these are pretty cool. Really easily used for like trolling and stuff like that. I don't do a lot of trolling. It's not my favorite way to fish. I still do some of it. It's pretty fun, but it's just not my favorite way. So I really like the Topwaters. And this is a spook. So this is kind of like a pencil popper almost, but yeah, just slightly different. And this is made by Hedden. It's called a Hedden Chuggin' Spook. And I did pretty good on this last year. I didn't use it that much. As you can see, it's still pretty good. I gotta check my light on this camera. Still looks pretty good. So that's that. So these here we call like metal slices. That's what they call them in Australia anyway. I don't know what they call them here, but these are cool because these are super aerodynamic. So when you cast this, it goes an absolute mile. Like I can cast that thing so far, it's insane. So it has a bit of holographic like shine to it. So it puts out some light in the water, which is pretty cool. And it kind of twists and turns and does stuff. So pretty good. This is just basically a different version of that. It's a little bit smaller. This is a slightly different version of both of those, but I broke this. I had a really nice session on this last year. It's called a Samaki 23. I don't even know who makes this, but I had that in my tackle box forever, used it, and it broke somehow, so probably might use it again. I'm not sure. Might throw it out. We'll see. So another thing, in the spring, so after the spring, when the fish leave and they come back to the island, what I like to use when the fish are either A, small, or they're picky, then I like to use something like this. This is called a twitching jig. And this is it's got a super small jig head on it, and a nice hook. And it's basically just rabbit fur and some other stuff tied on it. My buddy Kent ties me these, and I really, really like them. They're, I think 1/8 ounce. I can't remember, but super good. Thanks, shout out to Kent, because he's tied me like, I don't know, 20 of them. I don't know where the rest of them are, but I have white ones, purple ones, this green. I have a bunch of green ones. I really like the white ones. They're my favorite. I seem to really gravitate towards the white ones. So anyways, these are awesome. I flick these around bridges and like, at some wharfs and stuff like that, and yeah, they work really good. And you can work them all sorts of different ways. Like you can reel it in fast, it kind of sits closer to the top. You can really work it slow so it's bouncing close to the bottom. You can, yeah, because it's a jig head, I really like this style of fishing because you can pick where the lure is sitting and whether it's moving quickly or slowly. You know, some of the other lures you don't really get as much of an option. So twitching jigs, guys, really like these. These are awesome, awesome lures. And when this gets wet, this becomes super small, and they just have such a nice little swim to them with this rabbit fur. It's crazy. Forgot to mention this guy, the Bird Lure. Caught a couple fish on this last year. Super awesome lure. I got this by accident. I ordered something else from Chase Baits, is the company. And I ordered something else, and they sent me this by accident. And so I told them, and they sent me what I actually wanted, but they told me to keep this. So I tried it. It works. I'm probably going to use it again this year. It's like a crawling lure, so it's a topwater, so it casts pretty good too. These two metal fins kind of make it walk on top of the water like this when you reel it in. You can't really work this too fast because these wings create a lot of drag, and if you pull too much, it just doesn't work properly. So, which is another cool thing about this, is you can fish this in where the tide is running decently hard. I have a hard time working it in really strong tides, but like if it's a medium tide, you can kind of just like keep this in the same spot and just put a little bit of pressure on it, and it just walks in the water. So this is really cool. I'll be using this and a lot of different stuff this year. I've got some really good ideas this year for some new stuff to be doing. So stay tuned for that, guys, because yeah, I have some really good ideas I'm super excited about. Some of them I don't even know have ever been done. So yeah, excited to do that. So these are some of my flies that I'll be using. I couldn't find a lot of them, so I know they're somewhere, but anyways, these I think were tied by Kevin Piercy is his name. I think that's how you pronounce his name, but he sent me a bunch of stuff. He knows I really like the red and white combo. He's a fly fisherman, so I think he lives in Nova Scotia, and he sent me a bunch of stuff. So we'll be using these as well. This is a popper, so that will be fun. Don't know what these are called, but they're colorful and they're nice. So excited to use those. This one here is a weighted fly. Don't know what that's called either. I can't remember the names of them. I forget the fly names so much because some of them are so ridiculous. Like some of them are called, like I used a Game Changer last year. Like what the hell is that? Anyways, whatever. I try not to get into the flies names too much because I just know what I like, basically. This is called a sand eel, and that's really cool. It's made of like, it almost feels like one of those little Chinese finger trap things that when you're a kid, kind of feels like something like that. So be excited to use that as well. And I've also got some crab flies coming. Those are not here yet, but they will be coming. So super excited to use the crab flies. And I'm getting a new fly reel as well and rod. So I think I'm going to be doing a spay caster, which is like a two-handed fly rod where you're not, it's a different way of casting. It's different, but you can get a lot more distance with those. So that's basically what I'm going for, because the type of fishing that I do is like a lot of wade fishing. So spay casting will give me a lot more distance. So I'm excited to try that. I'm going to buy, not sure yet, but I might be just buying a cheap kind of setup to see how I like it. I think I'm just going to go with like a max catch or something like that. I heard they make a pretty good spay rod, like for the price, obviously. So these are just new sand eels, some colors that I'll probably use in the spring. These are the size that I really like in the spring, the 5-inch. So I like to use the 5 or even a 4-inch, some 4-inch stuff, or even something as small as that in the spring, because the fish are just not as aggressive and worked up. So in the fall, I up the size. So I'll go up to like 6, 7, 8, even this here, this 9.5-inch. They're just more aggressive. They're willing to eat bigger things. They're just, yeah, they have a lot more energy. So actually the guy who makes these is also going to send me one that's way bigger than this. And I'm going to try that. It's going to be 12.5 inches, and he's going to make some black ones as well. So I'm going to try both, and I'm going to get some smaller ones. So he makes some smaller ones like this. So I'm going to get a bunch off him this year. So that will be fun. He's a really cool guy. I've been talking to him online for a while now. He really loves the fishing that we have up here. I think he's from California. They do some striped bass fishing as well. Catch some nice fish. So I will probably tag him in the description. Oh, that's an eye from one of the lures fell off. Whatever. So these here, my buddy Kent printed. So he ties these, and he also 3D prints poppers. So these are some of his earlier stuff. He's doing more now, and I think he's getting better at it, but these are just fine. They've got a bigger cut face, so they throw a lot of water as well, but they're pretty cool. So yeah, go Kent. So this is my leader. It's fluoro. It doesn't really matter to me, in my opinion. Some people might say that it does, but I really don't care if it's monofilament or fluoro. This is 30 pound, and the reason why I use 30 pound is not because I think the fish are gonna break it. It's for handling the fish when it gets to me. So this makes it really easy to grab the line and pull the bass in, so you can lift the bass and take the lure out. So I use 30 pound for pretty much everything except for my smaller reels and smaller rods, like the ultralights, because this, when you tie knots in it, it will damage your guys pretty bad. So, oh, I forgot to talk about these. I got a little, I don't know what it's called, crayfish or a lobster or whatever. I'm gonna be trying that this year. I've had this for a while. I don't know why I never tried it, just forgot. these little ones too. These are great for bridges and little places like that. Really like that stuff. And I've got a worm. It's like an earthworm type thing, so that'll be fun to try. Got some new cool top waters coming too that are totally new that I have never seen anyone on this island use, so that'll be fun. So these are the VMC inline hooks. This is 4.0, I believe. Yes, 4.0. And I've even got some 3.0s. These are for the smaller lures. And these are obviously for the bigger lures. So these 3.0s I'll use on something like this. These little tiny poppers. And that's basically what I'm going to be using in the spring when there's a lot of schoolies around. It's mostly schoolies. I'll use this little popper here. And also this little one. This one I got in Australia. My buddy bought it for me for my birthday, I think, or something. And I'm pretty sure it won like Lure of the Year or something like that, he told me. So that's pretty cool. But it just kind of looks like 3 fish together. So that's pretty awesome. It's just a little tiny popper. Just disturbs a little bit of water, but super cool. So the 3.0s will go with those. What else do I got here? So that's pretty much all my lures done. I'm trying to keep this relatively short. Okay, so I'm gonna go over my reels. So this is my fly reel. It's a red truck reel, 7 weight, and this thing is beast. This is a super awesome reel. I got this at Escape Anglers from Charlottetown, from Wayne. His name's Wayne, he owns the shop, and this is a super nice combo. I got it paired with a Beulah 7 weight rod, but yeah, this thing's awesome as hell. Sounds super nice when they're peel and drag, and it's just super nice, so really like that. I'm gonna be getting something bigger though, so I really like this, but I'm gonna be going bigger just because it is hard to get a lot of distance out of. So it is only 7 weight, and the fish are just like, they fight so hard on this. It takes me so long to bring the big ones in that I need something a little bit beefier. So we'll be showing you that this year, guys. This is my little trout reel. I use this for schoolies and for trout. I just got this last year, the year before. It's just a little max catch reel. It's nothing special, but it's all I need. I'm not a big fly expert, so this is all I need for now. I will probably replace this when I need to at some point, but it works great for now. The schoolies just kick this thing's ass, so pretty sweet. Oh my god, the line's all messed up in it, but that's fine. Whatever, I'll fix that later. That goes on a 5 weight, just a cheap combo. I will be upgrading eventually. So the next reel that I want to show you guys is this here. This is my favorite, probably my favorite reel. It's a Shimano Stella. My girlfriend got me this for my 30th birthday, and it's a 1000 size. So this goes on my ultralight reel. Made by Shimano. It's super expensive, but yeah, super nice. So that's why I don't use it for big fish. It could handle some pretty decently sized bass, but I don't want to ruin it because it is super expensive. But man, this thing is so smooth. It's so beautiful. I love it so much. But yeah, the schoolies kick this thing's ass, but it's fun. So this will go on my ultralight rod. I have a Fenwick ultralight, like a 6 foot ultralight, and I'll be tying stuff like this on it. So that's basically paired with this and the ultralight rod, and that's a wicked combo that's super fun to use. So that's that. I have a bunch of reels here. This I use for the bigger fish, even though it's still pretty small. It's a Daiwa BG MQ 2500. Super nice reel. Really like it. It's got 30-pound braid on it. 30-pound J braid, I believe. Super slick J braid. So the reason I go super slick is it's just nice to have a couple extra feet of line because I do use small gear for big fish, or biggest fish. Ooh, that needs some greasing. This normally spins like crazy. So this is a Gomexus handle. You buy this afterwards. So it has a normal T, I think it's called a T handle on the, like this is what it came with, something like that. And I replaced it with this called a Gomexus handle. And yeah, just because I've heard somebody call them a power knob, so I started calling them a power knob. And it's just easier to find. Like if you happen to lose it, it's nicer to grab. So yeah, power knob. Like this one a lot. I think got it 2 years ago and it's still going strong. I pair that with a pretty decent sized rod. So this is another small reel that I use, Daiwa BG. This is one of their older models. Sounds a little worse for wear. Might have to get that cleaned and serviced. Super nice little reel. I really like the BGs. So this is basically, this is the upgraded version of this. So this is the older model, this is the newer model. But yeah, these older models are still amazing. I have a big version of this, like an 8000. This is a 2500 and I have an 8000. I bought that for sharks in Australia and that works amazing. I don't use it here because I don't catch anything big enough to have to use that. But I will someday, like halibut or something, or it's not gonna catch a tuna, but yeah, something bigger, maybe even a shark if I can find them. So really like the Daiwa BGs. I'm a really big Daiwa guy, in case you haven't noticed. So the next one is the Saltiste. This was probably my favorite reel other than the Shimano Stella. I just love the way this one sounds whenever they're pulling line. This is old. I'm upgrading this year. I just thought I'd show you guys. But yeah, I'm getting rid of this. This is old. I've had this for years and years. This has caught sharks. It's caught massive stingrays. It's caught so many things. Yeah, insane. It's done more than its fair share of hard work. So it's getting a little worse for wear over the years. Every year it just gets a little bit worse after I clean it and do whatever. So I will be replacing this with the new version. They came out with a new version of the Saltiste. This is Daiwa Saltiste 3000, I believe. Yep, 3000. So they've come out with the Daiwa Saltiste MQ. So I'll be replacing it with that this year because I really like the Saltiste model. So also got 30-pound braid on it. This is my only pen slammer. I bought this years and years and years ago. So this is a nice reel still. It's a really nice reel. I use it for bait fishing mostly. I pair this with a giant rod. It's a Daiwa M-Cast. It's like a medium heavy rod. And basically I use that to send baits out really far from the beach. So it's got the big handle as well. This one's kind of staying a little better. So these reels are really nice. It's very heavy. But yeah, it's a very nice reel. It sounds awesome whenever they peel some line. And it's got a super heavy drag. So I like that. So pretty cool. I'll be using that a lot this year. This here is a belt holder. So I put this on my wading belt. And yeah, it holds my fly rod. It just sits right in here. So it's pretty cool. I got that also at Escape Anglers. So yes, this is kind of my lure rig wallet. So pretty cool. Got this at Richard's Bait and Tackle. They sell these. Made by Daiwa. They're pretty sweet. So you just put your lures in it and it just Velcros. You can just put a whole bunch of stuff in here and Velcro it together. I really like them. I got a couple of them. I don't know where they are though, but yeah. Anyways, that's ready for the season pretty well. And yeah, I've got some other stuff. Let's see what else I got in here. So I've got, this is just kind of a mess. I've got spinners in here and got lots of spinners and jigs and these little cast masters. These work really well as well. But yeah, I've got all sorts of stuff in here. Crankbaits, lots of different crankbaits and spinners, and there's another fly popper there. I haven't used this one yet either, but that'll be fun. But yeah, all sorts of little, used this for some white perch last year. That was pretty fun. It's just a little crankbait. Got some more poppers in here, little soft plastics. Just all sorts of little stuff. Some stuff I used in Australia. Little trout lures. These are all just mixed together with the treble hooks. See, I gotta change all this stuff, but for now, I'm not gonna be using it that often, so I'm just gonna leave it the way that it is. We got some big metal jigs you can use in the ocean. All sorts of mackerel jigs and stuff like that. Pretty cool. We got some water bobbers, some normal bobbers. We've got some fly, what do they call them? Indicators. I don't know why you don't just call it a bobber. It's the same goddamn thing. Whatever. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for that. I think that's it, guys, for now. So stay tuned, because I'm gonna have some new stuff. Maybe I'll do my rods next day. Show you guys my rods and stuff. Do that outside because it's kind of hard to see it in here. Yeah, it's too hard to see it in here. So yeah, that's it for now, guys. I am super excited to get started. So we'll see you soon.